we're going to start things off here by looking at investment bonds, how they went. So we had a large spike on HYG as well. It's a nice move up on LQD. HYG is your high yield corporate bonds. This is your junk bonds. We moved up on both for the week, and that's healthy for the market in general. As far as RSP, we did have a downtick Friday, and all that really tells us is that the rally in the markets on Friday was limited to certain, not all sectors per se, certain sectors, certain stocks, not everything. All right, now let's move on over to take a look at SPY chart. Gonna take a second to load. I've been trying to get Thinkorswim to turn on all weekend. It's the first time I managed to get it on. So let's look at the weekly chart. As you can see on the weekly chart here on SPY, nice green body candle, little wick at the bottom, extremely bullish. Nothing else to read out of that. It's just completely bullish. Daily chart, we had a gap up Friday, totally bullish. Switch on over to the hourly chart. So looking for Monday as far as SPY goes. Basically two possibilities that I see. One, we break below this 676.45 level, and we would look to fill the gap, respecting that there could be support found at 674 before the gap's filled. The other thing I'd be looking for is just a higher low over the all-time high here to continue day two continuation, the uptrend from the CPI beat on Friday. Now, there is a phenomenon that happens when we gap up, especially when we gap up on a catalyst and we gap and go on the day. There's some statistics that show that the following day we gap up again, something like 75% of the time. So I would not be shocked to see us opening gapped up on Monday. That generally closes pretty quickly, though. It's just a interesting phenomenon. So that's what I'm looking for, either a gap fill or just continuation. If it stays within Friday's range, then it's simple to deal with that. You just wait. QQQ, weekly chart. I imagine since we're at all-time highs, it's going to look totally bullish. Yes, it does. Wick on the bottom, nice filled body green candle for the weekly. Daily chart, gap up from CPI. Hourly, we're looking for the same thing on QQQ. Higher low over the all-time high, 618.25, or a lower high under 616 for a gap fill respecting possible support at 612.50. IWM, small caps. We are not on all-time highs on small caps. For the weekly, looks like we have an inside bar, so that still remains bullish. Not only that, it's basically a hammer, also bullish. Daily chart or the daily bar on Friday doesn't look super great. If there is going to be a gap fill, it's probably most likely going to be here out of the three indexes. So a higher low over 250.55 Monday. I would have no problem taking that to target 251.75. If we do get below Friday's range, looks like we kind of got some strong support right here at 248.25. I don't know why I always want to yawn when I'm doing YouTube videos, but I do. So I apologize. But lower high under 248.95 to target 248.25. And then if it gets below this, maybe it'll fill the whole gap. There's this pretty strong support here, so I don't know. But that is what we're looking for on those. Let me just find my notes for other stocks. One moment. All right, let's take a look at NVDA. NVIDIA, um, as you can see, I think it's on the daily chart as well. Yeah, on the daily chart and the hourly chart, we have this clear double bottom here, which is cool. I'm glad to see NVIDIA might actually start doing something. So you could really see the double bottom here on the hourly chart. Friday, we have a break above this double bottom and then a pullback to the double bottom neckline and continuation. That's great news for NVIDIA. I am happy about that. Um, so higher low over 187 should be good for long. You might respect this level here at 188.55. Just kind of watch how it goes there, but overall, higher low over this, I would be looking to target 189.50 with possible respect of 188.55. If for some reason NVIDIA gets back below this 185 level, 184.95, then we have a look above and fail, and it would probably end up going to the other end of the range, eventually 180.15. Really hope that doesn't happen. I'd like to see movement from NVIDIA. It's really been a downer on the market lately, so it's good to see it out of that range. Tesla, okay. Tesla's made many attempts to get above this 440.50 level. It's failed quite a few times. Um, so at this point, what I'm looking for a breakout to the long side is a higher low over 448.65, and really it starts to get clean under over 453. Eventually, someday that will happen. It did, sell off when it had earnings last week, but immediately recovered all the way back up to the top of that bounce range. Looked below the bounce range, failed, went to the other end. Now we have it off the other end. So will it go back to the bottom? Possibly. If that's going to happen, the best way to catch that would be if it comes back up and gives a higher low off of 440.50, then it might be worth trying to short, depending on market conditions. Is SPY selling off? Is QQQ selling off? If those things are happening as you're getting a lower high off that, it might be a trade worth taking a look at. Amazon. Amazon looks good on the hourly chart. However, switch on over to this daily chart. Kind of messy still. If I were to draw a downtrend line through this, we did technically break above that downtrend line Friday. So that's good, but we're not out of the downtrend because downtrend is, calculated by lower high, lower low. And this could end up to be a lower high, despite the fact that if you use a smaller daily chart, we do technically have higher high, higher low, higher high. So we are uptrending on a tiny daily chart, but on the overall daily chart, still kind of in a downtrend until it gets above this 227.60 level. So with that in mind, Let me just look at my notes, what I have for Amazon, so I don't have to think about it. Okay, so retest of 2023 that holds with like a hammer candle or something, or a higher low over 224.90 could be good for this long continuation. You do want to make note that it's in a competition of time frames still. Um, a break above this 20 SMA would be cool. So, I mean, if it's going to continue long, that's what I'd look for. A retest to this level or a higher low over this level. A retest like a hammer candle or something, higher low, then a hammer candle or some type of candle setup for continuation above that level. Um, Eventually targeting the opening candle of this over here, which is 226.55. Apple, despite the fact that Apple's like at all-time highs and all that, I'm kind of disappointed in Apple because it had this gap up on the new iPhone sales, whatever. You would hope for at least 2 days of movement, but it's absolutely not done that. Now, something bullish that I can say for it is it came down and tested this gap, did not fill the gap, it held it, and now we're back up towards all-time highs again. That in mind, higher low over 264 for all-time high continuation really be what I'm looking for. Could come back and test this level, and that might be good for a long up to 220 or 264. Pretty much what I see with Apple. I don't see any kind of scenario where I'd want to short it unless maybe we caught a lower high under this gap level. But no, that's not something for the immediate future. Palantir been stuck in the ugly, ugly range forever and ever and ever. Um, I don't know why this is here. All right. So for Palantir, what I'm waiting for is a higher low above 186.50 and or I'm going to start watching it above 186.50 and then to get a higher low above the all-time above 189, not technically the all-time high. A higher low above 189 and I'm really hoping for a big breakout on Palantir if and when that happens, mainly due to the mass consolidation that has happened at the top here. Look at this daily chart, just insane. Um, so higher low over all this, and I'm really looking for hopefully continuation to really double the size of that range. So 171 to 186. So hopefully, $15, $16 of continuation after that. That is the hope and the dream and the plan. Let's take a look at MU because holy shit, I'm sorry about my French. Just wow on MU. Absolutely insane how hardcore this thing's just been moving. Uh, Unreal. So look at Friday. This is the hourly chart, just green bars all the way up, and then the final hour of the day, we just have a doji, basically. I mean, wow, that's bizarre. Um, so I would consider possibly a higher low off 214.75. That's not like any kind of strong level or anything. The better pullback would be 210, but I would also consider it at 25. So any type of pullback that holds at any three of these levels that's got me a clear hold, I'm looking to go long there. I might consider a long over Friday's high a day, depending on market conditions. That's going to be a lot riskier in my opinion, because taking longs at the highest highs is kind of bizarre to think that you're going to make money doing that. So you got to be really careful with that type of attitude. Just taking longs at the highest highs of highs ever, even on a 2-minute chart, is not generally the greatest idea. All right, now we are looking at hood. As you can see, we got not a perfect double bottom, but a double bottom nonetheless. As far as I define a double bottom, it works perfectly fine for me. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can see it on a daily chart as well. So neckline is right here, 140.88. Any higher low over that, I'd be looking to go long. And that's at fails. You could try and scalp a short through this gap close. The better short would be under 130, 150. Lots of thin structure to short there. So if it comes up and that whole thing fails, comes back down and gets a lower high under here, yeah, that'd be a great short at that point after the failure to go higher. Let's take a look at Google. I was blessed enough to be smart enough on Friday or dumb enough, depending on how you look at it, but it did work. Hopefully the 2-minute chart will load. I've been having trouble getting 2-minute charts to load. All right, whatever. I was hoping to show what I did. Let me try one more time here. Yeah, it's just not loading. I don't know why. Okay, back to the hourly chart. But anyway, pretty much right after open on Google on a 2-minute, it came up, popped back down, gave a hammer candle off this level, little 2-minute hammer, and I took it long and it shot straight up. So that was a cool trade. So what are we looking for on Google? We're either looking for a pullback to this level here that holds to go back long. So pull back to the previous all-time high. Let me update that from the all-time high, previous all-time high. Or a higher low for day two continuation above 261.25. That's what we're looking for. Generally speaking, whenever you are at all-time highs, there's a range and you break out of that range, you're looking to double that range for all-time highs. It's like a measured move. It's not necessarily going to work, but it kind of helps to work as a guide. So 246 to 254, $8 move, 254, 261, it's getting there. There should be some room left to run above this. Not investment advice, trade at your own risk, but depending on market conditions, depending on market internals, depending on momentum, depending on volume, all those things factor in. Microsoft, what do we have here? An ugly double bottom or inverted head and shoulders, something like that. It did pop above this 518.50 level, did pull back once, twice, and moved right on back up. So at this point, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a higher low over 525.25 with an eventual target of 530. So any higher lows over this level, I'd be willing to take it long depending on market conditions. Oracle. Oracle. Okay. Still in the downtrend. All right. Yeah, that's right. Let's take a look at the daily on this. We still have quite a bit of gap left from here all the way down to here. So I did catch a trade at some point last week, catching a partial gap fill, but it kept getting caught up at the 50 SMA. It had the 50 SMAs moved up a pretty good chunk from this point now. So here's what I'm looking for in Oracle. Any lower high, let me change this color to yellow so I know that's a gap. All right, any lower high under this 271 level, I'd be looking for more partial gap fill, probably respecting this. I I can't see where that level comes from right now, but I have a level at 260.75. I will just choose to believe that that's a good level to respect. Yeah, I guess it's really not the strongest there. That'd be a little stronger, 259.95. Um, so, partial gap fill, scalp short. If it does something under that, where do I take it long? I mean, this is thin structure right here, but it's being still in a downtrend, competition timeframes, things like that. I'd be a little sketched out to try and take a long right there. We don't have a double bottom. We don't have any kind of reversal pattern. So as far as this chart goes, until something changes, it's still looking bearish to me, but I might consider longs above 292.65. Um, let's look at one other thing from Friday. See if we can get this to load because it was pretty crazy. This, well, early in the day, like 2 hours in, the time above tick line zero was like 90%, 95% or something like that. And the tick low of the day was like 250. So, I mean, we did spend a majority of the day above the zero tick line. Our tick high a day was 1131, low a day negative 650. So, I mean, real strong bull internals on Friday. Um, the Brevs, when market opened, were just massively huge as well. Looks like the Nasdaq ended the day with two times more buy volume. Russell had two times more, S&P two times more, and New York Stock Exchange two times more. But when market opened, it was like 5 and 9 and things like that. So I mean, it was just massively bullish, massively. Anyways, that's all I got for now. Keep your accounts green, and if you're not journaling your trades, don't be a dum-dum. Go to strategyforgejournal.com right now. Do the free trial and then use code strategy for a month free to see how trade journaling can help improve your trading. All right, that's all I got.